So making friends in your 30s is probably easier than you think. And you're probably watching this video because you're in your 30s and it probably seems harder than ever to meet new friends. And so today I want to share my experience of how I've been meeting new friends without the apps after moving to Vegas. And what I learned is it's really not as hard or as daunting as most people think. The problem is school never taught us how to make and keep friends. And it's not your fault. There's a whole trend on YouTube of I have no friends. And even the most extroverted, social, and successful people experience this too. For example, this is my friend Marlo. He has his own dental practice and is super social, super chill guy. He brings up a really great point. It's really hard to meet people in your 30s compared to college days. In my 30s, my Instagram are filled with people popping out kids, getting married, and not going out to the clubs and bars as often. And if you're like me, late night scrolling on IG, I'm thinking, what the am I doing with my life? So if you're feeling this way, you're not alone. I set one of my goals this quarter to make 6 new friends here in Vegas. And believe it or not, I hit this goal in less than 2 weeks. I didn't use any apps like Meetup or Bumble BFF. I didn't use any creepy pickup lines, and I didn't have to change myself. I just did these 3 things, and these tips might actually help you. So if you're getting targeted with these I have no friends videos on YouTube, this video's for you. It starts with the first friend. Yo, not gonna lie, these days it's kind of weird just randomly approaching and talking to people. We think it's awkward. We think it's creepy. Plus, the whole COVID thing really didn't help. Not gonna lie, when I think about approaching people, I think about those really creepy and cringy pickup videos with the corny pickup lines and stuff. And FYI, half those videos are fake and staged too. But does it really have to be that way? What if there was a way that we can make people feel good while feeling organic and being genuine at the same time? So I met up my friend Milena Ashley, who I also met the week before, and this is what they said about making friends.
I would say like deep, meaningful connections. It's been easy for me. Like I've just been in alignment with people that want to grow, want to improve their lives and have community and accountability. So I feel like friendship has been easy for me.
So I started thinking about the things that I actually like, the things that I actually need to leave the house for. So I came up with 4 things. Number 1, jujitsu. Jujitsu is bae. Second thing is yoga. Third thing is I love exploring new bookstores in the Vegas area. And the 4th things are coffee shops. I'm a caffeine cold brew addict. Out of the 4, coffee shops just felt the most natural and authentic, where I can have like random moments with strangers. To be honest, I think there's a long lost art of small talk and just meeting people through everyday life. And approaching people doesn't have to be this crazy, perfect movie moment. I asked Milena and Ashley if they ever had any awkward moments talking to people, and this is what they said.
I feel like I haven't been in coffee shops that long to have an experience. Usually it's the gym.
I've never had an awkward experience.
Never. Personally, something I found is that things are less awkward when I have something in common. For me, my ears naturally perk up when someone mentions YouTube or jiu-jitsu. When I see a book at a coffee shop that someone's reading, I always feel compelled to just ask them, hey, how are you liking that book so far? Right? Because I'm a book nerd, clearly. I think that's the beauty of the third home that Starbucks once talked about before they went super corporate. And that's the reason why I love coffee shops, because you can listen to conversations and it's really not weird to just go over like, hey, I couldn't help but over here, I heard a conversation about you training jiu-jitsu. And this literally happened with my friend Milan. What was crazy is that we ended up in a 3-hour conversation about Uchimatas, De La Riva, Z-guards. And this gives you kind of a bit of anxiety just approaching people. The key tip that really helped me is just like the anxiety disappears when you have 0 expectations and you just talk about something that you nerd out over and love. You don't really need to force anything. But once you meet these people, how do you build off those relationships? This leads me into the next step, inviting my friends to things I'd be doing myself. While it's really fun meeting new people, I love building deeper relationships. You know, the type of friends that you can just hit up at 10 p.m. and it's not awkward, or the type of friend who will tag along to your favorite In-N-Out joint and grab your favorite Flying Dutchman keto meal, or watch Black Panther with you. I don't know about you, but sometimes I get really anxious thinking about what to do, especially if it's a new friend, because I hate planning. And when I have to plan, I start worrying and thinking about what should we do? Will this person even like doing what we're doing? And what happens if they end up canceling? And oftentimes I ended up doing nothing. And the truth is, based on my experience, most people also hate planning and avoid it. But what if there was an easier way where there didn't have to be so much friction? The truth is, relationship, including friends, takes work. But luckily, it doesn't take hard work. And the easiest way I found is just to invite my friends to the things I'd be doing anyways if I was alone. So for me, I'm an absolute nerd, so I wrote down a list of things that I'd be doing anyways if I was alone. This is what I came up with. Jiu-jitsu open mats, comedy shows, co-working at a coffee shop or bookstore. I even wrote down axe throwing. By the way, remember axe throwing, more on that later. But honestly, it can be as simple as asking a friend to see if they want to tag along to a new restaurant. Or if you want to get more ideas, you can just Google a list of cool things to do in your city. And this did something really cool. No longer are you asking, hey, do you want to come with me to XYZ? It starts turning into being like, hey, I'm doing XYZ on this day. I'd love for you to join if you're free, right? It just seems way more exciting. And when I stopped asking people and started inviting people to things I actually loved, what I learned was that I stopped obsessing over what other people started thinking, while still letting my friends know that I'm thinking about them and I enjoy their company. Even if no one's down, I'm still doing the things that I love. But while I love one-on-ones for building deeper connections, it's kind of slow, which leads me to my next point: hosting events to introduce my friends to other friends. So back in my mid-20s, I moved from Boston to LA and I had 0 friends. So what I would do was go out to the coffee shops during the day, chop it up with some random people, make friends, and then invite them to the bars and clubs at night. Sometimes those friends would invite their other friends, and not too long after, we actually had a whole ratchet crew going out to K-Town every single weekend. Something I learned from that experience is that the friends of your friends make great friends. And while I'm not as ratchet as my LA days, what I realized is that it's really fun introducing my friends to each other, especially if they're feeling alone in their 30s. Alright, remember what I was talking about axe throwing? A few weeks back, I organized an axe throwing event with 10 of my friends. Probably the most whitest thing ever, but to be honest, it's something I haven't really done in over a year. Plus, it's really fun. There's a bit of competition, but casual enough where you can chop it up and chat. And while a bunch of my friends couldn't make it last minute, the ones that showed up, we had a blast. Not gonna lie, it ended up being a boys' night, making jokes and talking about each other's exes. And by the end of the night, we just felt a lot closer. Okay, so you might be wondering, how do I actually organize these events? To be honest, I'm really not a pro, but these are things I like to keep in mind. First thing is, I really like to invite friends who have similar interests. Second thing is, I like to invite 4 to 6 people, 8 people at max, but anything more than that, it can be really awkward for certain people. And the final thing is, I like to invite 1 or 2 people who kind of know each other so that they don't feel awkward at the event. So those are just general tips, but if you're anything like me, you're probably wondering damn, Kevin, this is a lot of work. But I have good news. It leads me to my last point. It gets easier over time. So for me, I'm not really a planner. I get really exhausted and burned out from it. But I will say, it does get easier. As I started planning more events, something crazy happened. My friends started inviting me out a lot more. Sometimes I see familiar faces, but a lot of times I meet new cool people through my friends. And making friends just became easier. For example, this is my friend Tino. We met at a barbecue over a year ago, went to Lovers and Friends together, but months went by because I kind of went antisocial. So when I hit her up to just see if she was down for a catch up over lunch, she invited me to this Asian night festival in Vegas and eventually her Thanksgiving event. At the event, I met one of her friends, Brandon, who's wearing a Nick Diaz shirt. Yes, the king of the Stockton slap. And now I'm planning a UFC night with him and some other friends in the area. And what I learned is sometimes when it comes to making friends, we think about people coming to us. But as I started being more proactive about my friendships, I noticed I started thinking about how do I connect cool people to other cool people while just having fun. Not gonna lie, feels weird at first, feels awkward, but out of all the people I've approached, I never had someone be like, don't bother me, weirdo. Wait, who the says that these days? Anyways, that's how I make friends. So how do you make your friends in your 30s? If you're in the Vegas area, hit me up on Instagram. And if you're into this video, then chances are you'll like my video on being behind and single in your 30s. Stay compassionate, stay authentic, stay rebellious. Peace.